This is Sean Moss. We on Sean Moss?
Sean Moss.
Sean Moss New Yay! Oh, check it out, check it out, check it out. Look at the little stalls where they're selling stuff. Oop, okay. Oh, yeah.
The following argument is bridged between the two texts, A Small Place by Kincaid, as well as A Casualty of Freedom by Okonkwo. A Small Place is a fiction piece that describes the Western tourist in Antigua through the eyes of a native. Casualties of Freedom is an in-depth analysis of the emotional and political state of post-colonial countries. In Okonkwo's analysis of post-colonial country, he states that in the cultural chaos left by colonialism, this mentality stunts indigenous initiative and creativity while promoting vulgar consumerism and self-nullifying mimicry of the West. Through this lens, tourism can be viewed as what Kincaid describes as secondary colonialism. Secondary colonialism occurs when inhabitants of wealthy, highly developed northern or western countries convert poorer, formerly colonial, usually southern and eastern countries, into sites or objects of useful pleasure.
We have excellent beaches, we have excellent places, excellent cuisine, excellent art.
You'll fall in love with the people will bring you back.
And we have a lot to show to the world.
Welcome to Haiti.
In great lengths in Kincaid's novel A Small Place, we explore the idea of the Western tourist through the impositions they impose on the foreign land they're visiting, while neglecting the impact that they have on the natives. This is a systematic problem in which funding is given to upkeep appearances to foreigners without improving the lives of the natives, often at the benefit of a corrupt government. An excerpt from A Small Place describes, "You will be surprised then to see that most likely the person driving his brand new car, filled with the wrong gas, lives in a house that in comparison is far beneath the status of the car. And if you were to ask why, you will be told that the banks are encouraged by the government to make loans available to cars, but loans for houses not so easily available. And if you ask again why, you will be told that the two main car dealerships in Antigua are owned by, in part, or outright by the government."
In our country.
Well, tourism is a big industry in Beene, but I really think that the ones who it helps the most is the government.
The tourism often mirrors the environment the Westerner is accustomed to, romanticizing the post-colonial country to the unaware or naive tourist. In fact, much of this is a curated facade. A further example of this can be seen in an excerpt from Kincaid, which states, "What you are eating came off a plane from Miami, and before it got on a plane in Miami, who knows where it came from? A good guess is that it came from a place like Antigua first, where it was grown dirt cheap, went to Miami, and came back."
Coming to the Marriott in Port-au-Prince, you can expect a Marriott experience. You can expect the Marriott experience. We have the same customer service, so you can find everything from local dishes to your classic Marriott favorites, so you can feel right at home.
In other words, the crops from these post-colonial countries are being undervalued and then resold to Westerners at a large markup for corporations. This kind of behavior reaffirms Okonkwo's belief that colonialism itself is literally a form of armed robbery on a national scale. It's important to note that the naiveness of these Western tourists is often stemmed from a lack of information of the plights of the country they're visiting. In both Casualties of Freedom and A Small Place, it's discussed in length that history books are often censored of this information. Given the West's total control of the production and dissemination of information, these destabilization programs are easily hidden from the Western public and the immense human tragedy attendant upon them. Okonkwo goes on to state that when the West removes a dictator, it installs a massive rewriting of history and dissemination of the new, authorized version by the mass communications media, historians, and academics, many of whom belong to the think tanks that developed the policies in the first place. In A Small Place, Kincaid reiterates this further by describing the tourists as coming into the country with their own books, books about the history of the places that they're going to, and how the West got rich, without saying that the West did get rich by the undervalued labor for generations of, as he states, people like me that you see walking around you in Antigua, but from the ingenuine of small shopkeepers. And then he goes on to state various European cities. With these factors of imperialist agendas supported by governments eager to create a facade of Western life at the cost of the native standard of living, and the easing of Western tourist conscience by the systematic cover-up of the historical role they played in past colonization, tourism is flourishing. On that note, we will end with Kincaid's argument on behalf of the native. That the native does not like the tourist is not hard to explain. Every native would like to find a way out. Every native would like a rest. Every native would like a tour. But some natives, most natives in the world, cannot go anywhere. They are too poor. They are too poor to go anywhere. They are too poor to escape the reality of their lives, and they are too poor to live properly in the place where they live, which is the very place you, the tourist, want to go. They envy your ability to leave your own banality and boredom. They envy your ability to turn their own banality and boredom into a source of pleasure for yourself.